Hello and welcome to my presentation regarding the massive problem of overfishing in the Mediterranean Sea, specifically in relation to the stakeholders impacted in the nearby vicinity. I will be breaking down not only the sea itself, but also how it can be monitored and the changes necessary to resolve this problem in a sustainable manner for the future, as well as how this will benefit the animals residing in this system given their adaptations and lifestyles. To begin, the Mediterranean Sea stretches from the Atlantic Ocean to Asia, occupying approximately 970,000 square miles of water. It offers a home to many species of whale, dolphins, cetaceans, crustaceans, and hundreds of species of fish. Specifically, the bluefin tuna, given their massive importance both to the ecosystem and economically to those who use them for fishing and as a form of income or protein. Due to the global geographical location of the Mediterranean Sea, extra pressure is faced from climate change, as well as some overfishing issues given the huge population that requires on this aquatic system. However, thankfully many conservation efforts are being made, with marine protected areas being found throughout, as well as a variety of legislations protecting the wildlife residing within the ecosystem. Figure 1 depicts a heat map in which species richness is compared on the grand scale of the entire Earth. However, we can see that in comparison to some of the larger scale water systems around the world, the Mediterranean Sea does not offer the same gamma diversity. This could explain why it has become so heavily exploited, as the residing species are often heavily sought after, regardless, and given that they take up a larger proportion of the population in this region, catching them will be much easier for the fishermen and a much more sustainable practice. Measuring diversity in an area like this, where so much area requires covering, is obviously impossible in terms of exact accuracy, especially given that humans lack the evolutionary adaptations found in so many fish that give them such an ease of access to the ecosystem. Examples of these adaptations include heightened myoglobin contents in mussels, which is the structure responsible for oxygen transfer and storage in mussels, allowing sea creatures to go for longer periods in low oxygen environments. Blood flow redistribution is also very important, as redirecting the blood towards vital organs ensures oxygen levels remain high and body heat is not lost, etc. In some cases, for example in whales, organs like the kidneys have their usage completely stopped temporarily while hunting in deeper waters to allow blood to be redirected to more important organs while oxygen concentration is low. In addition, body structures like ribs and lungs have evolved to become more flexible in order to help deal with the higher pressures of deep water, along with extra organs like swim bladders that assist with buoyancy. As well as this, behavioural changes such as how these organisms predate or avoid predation, e.g. deep sea dwellers stay hidden and feast on falling scraps and corpses, may make measuring species richness or biodiversity levels much harder. With researchers lacking these adaptations in mind, other strategies such as zooplankton analysis could be used to measure an ecosystem's health. This is done by dragging a specially made plankton net through currents in which zooplankton will be carried. Then, under microscopes, the population in the sample is counted, and the Sampson's diversity index is then used to reflect upon how healthy the ecosystem supposedly is. Given their ecological importance in terms of the ability to provide a source of food to a large quantity of the variety of species which reside in the sea, as well as through the movement of carbon throughout the water as they are carried within the currents, measuring the index of zooplankton populations is an effective measure of determining how healthy an ecosystem is. Once an ecosystem's health is gathered, tackling the issue of overfishing can begin. This is defined as the act of catching fish faster than stocks can replenish. Recent findings have shown that this is highly related to bycatch, during which unintended sea creatures are caught in the nets when fishing. In addition, although fish farms are intended to counteract this problem by providing an alternative source of fish, specifically those like tuna and salmon, the food sourcing to run these farms leads to an even more overfarming, as the food contains a high content of locally sourced fish for carnivorous species, specifically like tuna. With this in mind, overfishing does have huge consequences on the ecosystem, as breeding struggles will arise once populations fall, leading to a huge domino effect in the food chain and the environment, as well as impacts on stakeholders that rely on the ecosystem for food and livelihoods, as they find they are struggling to keep up with demand. Although, thankfully, there are a variety of actions being undertaken, as well as more that can be implemented in order to counteract these issues. For example, fishing quotas can be set to limit the amount of fish caught to a sustainable level, as well as avoiding fishing in protected zones or during peak breeding seasons to allow the population stock to replenish. Doing so results in populations blooming in protected areas until they reach a holding capacity, at which point fish will be forced to spill out from these protected areas, and boats nearby can then catch the overspill, allowing the ecosystem protected to remain untouched, as well as the populations inside to continue to grow. Habitat damage should be avoided at all times, and in order to avoid increased damage caused to stock from fish farming, alternate fish feed could be found for these systems, along with refinements to nets and other tools used in the process to avoid bycatch of cetaceans and some other aquatic organisms such as loggerhead and green turtles, or any of the many species of sharks or rays found in this Mediterranean Sea. In conclusion, I firmly believe that overfishing is a very manageable issue within the Mediterranean Sea, as the refinements necessary to the lifestyles of stakeholders do not require that they completely inhibit their usage of the aquatic system as a source of livelihood or food or whatever it may be. And their lifestyles will not have to be changed greatly or debilitated in any way in order to protect the aquatic system, meaning that the future of the sea should hopefully be one where the avoidance of overfishing has become a very sustainable and reachable goal, and that overexploitation of the system has become something of the past. And I especially hope that the concerns regarding bycatch and fatalities caused by this are at an all-time low within the next decade or so, given how influential they are onto the populations found in this ecosystem. Thank you for watching.